Welcome back, everybody, to the Baltimore Orioles franchise here on MLB The Show 21. Today, we continue the start of season number 4, and so far, so good for the most part, as our Orioles are 6-5 on the young season. We played one game last episode, which was opening day, a 7-5 win against the Philadelphia Phillies. With a few guys in the lineup like Adley Rutschman, Louis St. John, and Nick Castellanos, who have all gotten off to very hot starts on the year. But we also have players struggling like Max Muncy, Marco Luciano, Anthony Rizzo, and others. So our lineup has definitely been a mixed bag of players doing well, players not doing well. The pitching as well has been a mixed bag, but one player who's been unbelievably good is MARQUEZ. 2 games so far, he's pitched in 17 total innings and has not allowed a single run. Obviously, that's a small sample size, but so far, he's been darn good. The 3 veterans in our rotation, Burns, Marquez, and Means, have all been very good. And the veterans in our bullpen have been great too. It's the young pitchers in the rotation and the bullpen who so far have struggled this season. So hopefully those young guys can pick it up. And if they do, I think this team could be well on their way to another AL East title. I really wanted to pitch with MARQUEZ. That's why I went up to this Angels game, which we are going to play today. Marquez's 3rd start of the season as the Orioles take on the also 6-5 LA Angels. Marquez is the big storyline of this game. We'll see if he can have another dominant performance. But one of the other storylines to watch out for is Nick Castellanos taking on the team whom he ditched in the offseason. Castellanos won an MVP with the Angels a year ago, won the World Series with the Angels the year prior, but of course he signed a 2-year deal with Baltimore in the offseason. So here is MARQUEZ, 0 ERA, 0.59 ERA, about as good as you can do through 2 starts. And his first inning would be a success as Mike Trout, arguably the best player in baseball, would get a weak fly out to third. Muncy makes the play. Quick 1-2-3 inning for Marquez. And we go to the bottom of the first, get our first look at the Angels starter in Griffin Canning. 1-0, 4.09 ERA, 1.09 whip. Now, again, obviously it's a small sample size. He's been about average so far through 2 games. Not bad, but not great either. As he faces off against Louis St. John, who takes a big swing and a miss. LSJ does not have a home run yet in 40 at-bats, but he is hitting 400. Well, now he's not hitting 400 because of a strikeout, but you get what I was trying to say. On to the 3rd inning, still tied at 0. Neither offense has done much of anything, as Brandon Marsh for the Angels will get a base hit. So finally, some offensive action. We'll see if it leads to anything. The former Oriole, Luis Aviles Jr., grounded to short, and Ivan Cortez just decides to stand there. I tried to move the controller to get the ball. The controller was not cooperating. So that's going to be counted as a single for Luis Aviles Jr., even though I feel like that's more so a bad defensive play. David Fletcher now look for the Angels 2-2 pitch. He's just a window shopper. Stay with me, kids, because he's just looking. Can the Orioles get Winker as well? The answer is yes. He grounds out to short. This time, Ivan Cortez Jr. actually bothers to field the ball. So the O's get in a little bit of a jam there, but they get out of it unscathed. MARQUEZ now with 20 shutout innings on the year thus far. So into the bottom of the 3rd, Anthony Rizzo gets a single. So the Orioles get their first base runner of the day to start the inning off. Maybe their offense can finally get some runs on the board. Full count pitch here for Ryan Mountcastle. He's going to rip this one past the glove of Aviles. That'll go for a single into left field. And it seems like the Orioles are now starting to do some damage. They have 2 on for Ivan Cortez Jr. Nobody out, keep in mind, as Cortez is going to try to go for the bunt, and he gets hit by the pitch. Cortez does a good job of getting the bat out of harm's way. So now the bases are loaded. Still nobody out for Adley Rutschman, who hits that one nicely. High and deep and a right center. It's gone. Grand slam for Adley Rutschman. Just the 2nd grand slam in a played game throughout this entire series. The first one was back in Season 2 by Anthony Santander. Santander ended up getting traded that offseason, but I'm sure Adley Rutschman will not have that same fate. One at the top of the 4th. 4-0 your score as Mike Trout gets that one to the wall, but it is going to be caught by Elliot Ramos for the first out of the inning. A little bit of a scare there for Marquez, but the shutout will survive. Anthony Rendon, the big free agent signing from a few off seasons ago, will swing and miss on the slider. And MARQUEZ just having his way with this Angels lineup tonight. Jared Walsh, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. He goes down on the high off-speed pitch. 4 shutout frames now for Marquez, who is up to 21 innings pitched on the year. Jalen Miller will kick off the bottom of the 4th for Baltimore as Canning has to duck away from that one. That'll be a single. And after 2 slow innings, it really seems like the Orioles offense has figured it out in a big way. They scored 4 runs in the previous inning. Seems like they might do some more damage here. Full count now for Rizzo. Looks at the outside fastball for ball 4. And the Orioles now have 2 runners on with nobody out. That'll bring up Ryan Mountcastle, who has a hit and a run in this game. This one will be hit right to Luis Aviles Jr. And the Angels return to 6-4-3 double play. So really the worst case scenario on that at bat for Baltimore, but they still have a runner 90 feet away from home for Ivan Cortez Jr., who weakly grounds it over to David Fletcher. Cortez barely unable to beat out the throw. He thought he was safe. Good hustle by the speedy Cortez, but to no avail. So Griffin Cannon gets out of the jam of his own, and now we go to the 5th. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. opens things up, drawing a walk. Marquez's pitch count is not much of a worry yet. He's at 64 on the moment, but that will be something to monitor. That pitch is bobbled away by Rutschman. Runner advances to second, and he is out. So Adley Rutschman big brains it by losing control of the ball, but in doing so, he throws out Gurriel at second. That's one way to end the inning. On to the bottom of the 5th now, Elliot Ramos with a deep shot into left field. You can forget about it. Solo home run for Ramos, his 5th of the year. Ramos has 9 base hits this season, 5 of which are home runs. So his power is back from last year, but contact-wise, he has struggled. On to the 6th, it's Luis Aviles Jr., the former Oriole, with his 2nd hit of the game. Aviles was with Baltimore as a Rule 5 pick during the start of last season, but was traded to the Angels at the deadline in exchange for prospect Jeremiah Jackson. David Fletcher will now draw a walk, so that's 2 on, nobody out, and German Marquez's scoreless inning streak is in jeopardy. However, Jesse Winker will drown into a 3-6-3 double play, and now Los Angeles is going to need a base hit to score a run, but the batter who's up is Mike Trout. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him, but he goes down on the low and outside slider. 6 scoreless for German Marquez, who is now up to 23 straight shutout innings to start the season. So the Angels will make a pitching change. Zach Davies is in for them, as he's going to face off here against Jalen Miller with 1 out. Full count pitch for Miller. He watches the 2-seam fastball sail right over his head for a called 3rd strike. So Davies seems to be getting through this inning pretty well. Well, not for long, as Anthony Rizzo blasts this one into right. If it's fair, it's gone. And it is. Solo home run for Rizzo, who's had a pretty rough season, but today he's been impressive as he has a single, a walk, and now a home run. Maybe this is the game where Rizzo can really start to get a groove, gain some momentum for this upcoming season. German Marquez still in the game here in the 7th as he strikes out Jared Walsh. Marquez up to 5 Ks on the day. And now a full count pitch here for Lourdes Gurriel Jr. And this one's going to be lined into center. The Orioles will make the play. 7 innings and 96 pitches later, it's another shutout for German Marquez. He would be removed from the game after this inning, but an unreal performance by Marquez, who quite frankly, through the first couple weeks of the season, has been the MVP of the American League, if we're being totally honest. Adley Rutschman is up for Baltimore. This one will go over the fence. Rutschman with his 2nd home run of the game. Now, unlike his last one, there were not 3 runners on base. This one is only a solo home run. But it's good to see Adley Rutschman really playing well today. He, unsurprisingly, has gotten off to a very strong start this season. So rather than one of the prominent bullpen arms for the Orioles, it's actually going to be Adrian Marijon. Baltimore does not want to waste one of their main bullpen arms, and they figure this is a good opportunity to get Marijon some more innings. As Brandon Marsh opens up the 8th inning with a single. So now that German Marquez is out of the game, watch the Angels' offense just completely explode. Kurt Casale up 1-2, swinging a miss on the 4-seam fastball. Nice pitch by Marijon, who was acquired a couple years ago from the Padres in the Trey Mancini deal. 2 away for David Fletcher. He grounds out to short. Baltimore makes the play to get out of the inning. And I imagine the Orioles should be able to hang on here in the 9th. But the Angels are not going to leave without a fight. Jesse Winker opens up the inning with a solo blast. Little lefty-on-lefty crime there. And the scoreless drought for the Angels is no more. Winker, who was signed to replace Castellanos, gets his 4th home run of the season. But I don't think Los Angeles is done. Mike Trout, the very next batter, singles into center. So again, it really looks like the Angels are going to try to get out of this game swinging rather than rolling over and dying. Anthony Rizzo with a single of his own, this time into right. I imagine there's some bullpen action for the Orioles. I know they're up by 6, but this is starting to get a little bit too close. Jared Walsh now singles into center field. Trout headed home, and the Angels bring it within 5 as it is now 7-2. At that point, Baltimore kind of realized that Marion ain't doing it, so he's going to be removed from the game, and it'll be the rookie Will Brooks who enters. Brooks is not at a great start to the year, 9.64 ERA, but he will get Lourdes Gurriel to ground into a 3-6-3 double play. Good start for Brooks. The runner does advance to third, as now it'll come down to Brandon Marsh. This one will be flied towards the foul territory in third base. Max Muncy will make the play, and the Baltimore Orioles will take this one by the final score of 7-2. A 7-inning shutout performance by German Marquez, who, coming off a rough season last year, has been unbelievable to start this season. At least 7 innings in all 3 of his outings, has not allowed a run yet. Technically, this was Marquez's worst start of the year, if we want to be technical. The Angels' pitching wasn't awful. Our offense wasn't great. I mean, we did have 4 home runs, most notably the grand slam from Adley Rutschman. But the story of this game was the pitching and how dominant German Marquez was, as he continues to be a very pleasant surprise. So, of course, we played the White Sox in the postseason last year, and we had them early in our schedule here in April. So we're going to sim up to that series, and we would go 3-1 on our simulated 4 games, beating the Angels 6-5, and then taking 2 of 3 against Toronto. I wanted to pitch with Max Meyer, so we're going to sim the first 2 games against the White Sox, and we would split. The game we won was pitched by German Marquez, who, believe it or not, did allow a run, so his scoreless inning streak would come to a close, but he is now 4-0 in 4 starts, and still has been the Cy Young of the American League. So it's going to be the rubber match. The 11-7 Baltimore Orioles trying to win the series here against the 8-9 Chicago White Sox. The White Sox are definitely playing with a chip on their shoulder. They lost to the Orioles in 4 games in the postseason last year, of course, headlined by that Game 4 loss in which Baltimore pitched a no-hitter. Here's a look at both lineups for both sides. Regular starters for the most part for Baltimore, although Max Muncy, who's hitting about 140, is getting the day off. Dylan Cease is on the bump for Chicago. He's had a rough year, 8.53 ERA. That is not good, if you are wondering. Louis St. John up with a runner on and nobody out will ground this one into a 6-4-3 double play. St. John is still hitting the ball really well. I believe he does have a home run now, so he won't go the whole season without hitting a home run. Not that that was ever a realistic possibility. Here's a look at Max Meyer, who has more to prove than anybody on this roster. So far, he has not been great through 3 starts, but again, it's only 3 starts. It's a very small sample size. He'd get through the inning fairly easily. The White Sox did get a runner on third, but Luis Robert would fly out to center to end the inning. So it's a scoreless frame for Max Meyer, who, of course, was in and out of the majors last year, really did not pitch well, and he has a lot to show this year. Anthony Rizzo, whose average has crept up very quickly since that Angels game that we played, will hit a single. And Rizzo, who started the year as one of our worst hitters, has quickly become one of our best. Jalen Miller gets that one past the glove of the third baseman and the shortstop for a hit. So the Orioles now have 2 runners on base with 1 out. That'll bring up Ryan Mountcastle, who draws a walk. And the bases are now loaded. So Baltimore has him juiced. Really, all they need to do here is not ground him and do a double play, and I think they'll be fine. That's exactly what's going to happen. 6-4-3 double play off the bat of Marco Luciano, who's hitting 189 on the year. Luciano also has quite a bit to prove, so hopefully he can get his act together. Bottom 2 now, Adam Eaton will single that one past the glove of Luciano into center field. So the White Sox now have themselves a base runner on with 1 out. They're getting some base runners here against Max Meyer, but will they be able to drive them in? They will not in this inning. Zach Collins strikes out. The White Sox had 2 runners on base there with 2 away, but Meyer will get out of the jam. 2 scoreless so far for Max, and now we go to the third. Louis St. John is up for Baltimore. This one is hit pretty nicely into right field. That one will go off the wall. St. John will advance to second, standing up. It'll be a one-out double for Louis St. John, his 7th two-bagger of the year. 2 away now for Nick Castellanos, who is still hitting the ball really well. It's that one high and pretty deep into right field, but not deep enough it would be caught. Still a scoreless game. Neither offense has been all that impressive. They've been able to get base runners, but they have not been able to drive anybody across. Nick Madrigal here in the 3rd will get that one to go in front of the glove of Castellanos, who runs past the ball. Madrigal will advance to 3rd. That'll be a triple. Castellanos decided to play the ball aggressively, and obviously that backfired. Had he been a little bit more passive there, that could have only been a single. Eloy Jimenez crushes this one deep into left field. It will be caught at the wall. Madrigal, however, will score. So had Castellanos played a little bit better defense on the hit by Nick Madrigal, this game would still be scoreless, but now it is 1-0 off of the successful sac fly by Eloy Jimenez. Top of the 4th now, Elliot Ramos hits this one high and pretty deep into center, but that one's only going to go to the warning track. The Orioles have had a few hits today that have reached the warning track, but have not been able to get over the fence. So Baltimore's getting base runners, they're hitting the ball nicely, they just have not been able to score. They've gotten super unlucky. Bottom 4, another 1-2-3 inning for Max Meyer, and through 4 innings, I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed. He looks good, he looks comfortable on the mound, pretty happy with how he's pitched. The only problem is, there has not been a lot of run support. However, the Orioles will get a late hit here in the 5th inning, courteous of Christian Robinson, who is hitting leadoff in this ball game, as you can see. Louis St. John now up 2-2 with 2 outs, gonna weakly ground this one to short. Tim Anderson will flip it over to second, and the White Sox get out of the inning fairly easily as the score remains 1-0. Let's go to the bottom of the 5th now. 1-2 count here for Cesar Hernandez. Don't even think about it. With a blazing fastball. Meyer only with 2 strikeouts on the day. His strength is striking out batters. However, he will get his 3rd there on Zach Collins, who thought that was a walk, but the official behind the plate will say otherwise. Another full count, this time for Starling Marte. That one looked more like a strike than the pitch to Collins, but that'll be a ball 4, and the former Oriole will reach base, and Nick Madrigal, however, will strike out shortly after. So Meyer would strike out this side, excluding Marte, and now that is 5 very strong innings for Meyer, and we go to the 6th. Nick Castellanos lines this one into left, again at the warning track, but it's caught. And the Orioles continue to get so unlucky. Anthony Rizzo up with 2 away. Hits this one nicely to second. Madrigal will make the play. That'll probably end Dylan Cease's day with his pitch count in the 90s. For a pitcher whose ERA was in the 8s going into the day, pretty good performance. Not allowing a single run, but again, I feel like the Orioles offense got super unlucky in this game. Eloy Jimenez leads off the 6th with a bomb into right center field. Jimenez is the only player on either team to drive in a run, and he is driven in both runs. Jimenez with his 10th of the year, and the Orioles will make a pitching change after that, taking Max Meyer out of the game, and it'll be Colin Poche who enters, and his first batter, Luis Robert, would launch a rocket into left. So Meyer definitely was not the issue. Maybe it's just that the White Sox offense is choosing now to be the time that they absolutely explode. And Chicago now leads this ball game 3-0. That would bring up Adam Eaton with 1 away. He gets fooled by the high inside fastball. That pitch was pretty nasty, I've got to say. Andrew Vaughn would also strike out, so Colin Poche would avenge the home run he allows. But not a great inning for Baltimore as they do allow 2, and the White Sox take a 3-0 lead. Stephen Crichton is in for the Sox here to start the 7th. His first batter, Elliot Ramos, with a moonshot and a bat toss in left field. So right when Dylan Cease gets taken out of the game, that happens. Coincidence? Well, maybe, but who knows. Ramos with his 6th home run of the season, and the Orioles are finally on the board, as it is now 3-1. Alex Colomé is in here in the bottom of the 7th, the former Chicago White Sox. Colomé was one of the 5 pitchers who helped complete the no-hitter back in the playoffs last year against the White Sox, as Cesar Hernandez will strike out on the low fastball. Runner on first, 1 away for Marte, as that one is grounded by Luciano. Luciano did not show a lot of effort getting to the ball at shortstop, and the same can be said for Christian Robinson, who was out there lollygagging in center, and because of that, Starling Marte advances to 3rd. So now there are runners on the corners here. 2 away for Eloy Jimenez, who already has driven in a couple runs today, but he will fly out to weak second. It will be caught by Jalen Miller, and the score will remain 3-1 with 2 innings to go. Can the Orioles push for a comeback, or can the White Sox take the win? Garrett Crochet is in for Chicago in the 8th, facing off against Max Muncy, who enters the game as a pinch hitter for Robinson. He will check his swing. Louis St. John is now up. He already has 1 double today. Gonna try to make it 2. I think that would have been a triple had it stayed in the ballpark, but it bounced over the fence for a ground rule double. And Baltimore now has one of their faster base runners on, as that will bring up Adley Rutschman. 1-1 count with 1 out. Rutschman grounds this one to the pitcher. Great play by Garrett Crochet, showing off the glove work to get the out, and we go to the bottom of the 8th. Jordan Hicks is in for the O's. He's only pitched in 2 innings so far this year for whatever reason. I don't know why Baltimore is not getting him in the game more, but he's not allowed to run so far. It's not like he's been bad in those games, as he opens up the inning, striking out Luis Robert, who had a home run in his previous at-bat. Tim Anderson is now up. He goes down on the 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah, that's a pretty fast pitch. So it's Aaron Bummer in for the save. He has replaced Liam Hendricks as the closer. Hendricks left in free agency. Anthony Rizzo going oppo-poppo here in the left. Does it have the distance? It does. Anthony Rizzo will go deep. White Sox fans are getting flashbacks from the playoffs last year, which Anthony Rizzo hit quite a few home runs in that series. So Baltimore cuts the lead down to 1. However, Elliot Ramos will go down looking the very next batter. Jalen Miller would reach base, as there's now 2 away for Marco Luciano. Tying run on, go-ahead run at the plate, and Luciano will ground out to first. Andrew Vaughn makes the play, and despite a late comeback from Baltimore, it's the Chicago White Sox who will get the win here by the final score of 3-2. So a good win for the Sox. They will take the series. Again, our offense was pretty blah in this game, but unlike the first game, we did not have as much power, only 2 home runs, although 2 home runs per game is a pretty darn good clip, but we did nothing outside of those home runs. Eloy Jimenez had a nice day. Luis Robert also went deep for Chicago, and Dylan Cease was unreal in his 6 innings. So now we're going to simulate the next 2 series. We had 3 games at home against the Red Sox, who have been surprisingly pretty good this year, and then 4 games at home against the very bad Texas Rangers. We went 6-1 in that span, taking 2 of 3 against the Sox and sweeping the Rangers. So that puts us at 17-9, which is the 2nd best record in the American League, only behind the Minnesota Twins. They are 18-8, which is tied with the Diamondbacks of all teams for the best in baseball. So our farm director wants to talk to us about a couple players. DL Hall is struggling, but Shane Kovaleski, our top draft pick, is doing really well in AAA, which is cool to see. He's hitting .359 at the moment, which you'll love to see. So some other notable performers include Irman Marquez, first among starting pitchers in all-star votes in the AL. Edwin Diaz is having another great year. Adley Rutschman's playing very well. Anthony Rizzo's doing a good job. And then Louis St. John, along with Nick Castellanos, both of them are doing well in the outfield. All 6 of those players are currently projected to make the All-Star team if this All-Star break was today, but we still have 2 more months to go. But it's still good to see all those guys doing well, and it's good to see the team really playing good baseball as we now enter the month of May, a pretty important stretch to see if this team is legit or if they're a fluke. I hope everybody enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Peace out.